The following program is furnished by K1 International LLC and is responsible for its content. Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth. Welcome to your Sunday morning. How we doing out there? Hey, we're here every Sunday morning, by the way, live for your entertainment pleasure. We talk real estate, business, sports, entertainment, politics, all kinds of good stuff, so we hope we make it part of your regular Sunday morning. Of course, all our past episodes are on the website. Of course, we're on SoundCloud, iTunes, and all that good stuff. And the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with all of our partners of business up here, our experts in their various industries. And, of course, you can connect with me to talk a little bit of real estate, or if you want to come on the show or partner with us on the show. We've got a lot of great partnership opportunities. By the way, we're looking for people for ad sales for our magazine product. And so if you're looking for a new job, new way of life, here in the new 2017 will give us a shout, making good money, 6 figures, just really for simply talking to people. So if you can talk to people and talk to them with any clarity at all, give me a shout and we'll talk about that. We were talking before the show about Cowboys because it's the first show since that game last week, and it was so frustrating. And we're such huge Cowboys fans here. But typical Cowboys, I mean, outside of the penalties and whatnot that we talked about, typical towards the end of the season, if they're doing well or if they make it to the playoffs at all, they totally abandon what got them there, which was the running game and pressuring the QB. So 2 things they needed to do, they just didn't do much of. And I know they got behind early, and, supposedly you need to switch gears a little bit, but, I don't care if you run Zeke for 250, 300 yards. That's what we needed to do to win, in my opinion.
I think that they needed to I think it was a big mistake the week that their last game to just kind of blow that game. I think that blew their whole momentum.
Yeah.
We have the players. Let them play. That's what they want to do anyway. Don't put them on the sideline and play third string.
Yeah, I agree. And, for us, and generally, I mean, I think we know that mentally the Cowboys generally can't handle certain things well. In a bye week, I knew it was going to be tough for us.
Right.
We're not a Belichick, coached team. We don't have the same attention to detail, the same focus. Mm-hmm. And our team really never has had that, unless you go back to Jimmy Johnson. But without that type of focus that the Belichick, culture has, for us, I knew it was going to be tough. But, just let Rodgers sit there and do whatever he wants to do. If you're not going to put him on his butt, then he's going to do what he wants to do.
Right.
You put 8 back in coverage, it's still not going to do anything.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
That was a hard game to watch.
It was frustrating.
Yeah.
So
that was the reason I was doing stuff around the house and not watching the game.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to talk with good old Mr. Richard here a bit later in the show. We're going to talk about flood insurance, and then with Terri, we're going to be talking a little bit more credit, all kinds of things to talk about credit-wise. Had a nice special guest lined up for today, president of Sprint of the West Division, and unfortunately, he's had to reschedule on us today, so we're going to catch him at a later time. But we've got a lot of special guests lined up here over the next few weeks that are going to be pretty interesting. Some fun stuff to talk about out there for sure. Hey, as far as it's related to real estate, please keep us in mind over here. We can help you with buying, selling, and investing. I want you to think about this. All the signs outside that you see at the various corners, heading to the donut shop, headed to work, that say, we will buy your house, top dollar, etc. And then the ones that are saying, you buy, no credit, 0 down, all that nonsense, it's just a bunch of scams, a bunch of malarkey. I would, call the professionals. If you're interested in buying real estate, give us a shout. We'll be absolutely happy to help you.
I always love those signs because when you see it written in magic marker or whatever,
marker.
just like, I'm just, who would ever even look at the phone number? I'm just tempted to go over there and draw some rainbows or unicorns on it, and just that's about how professional it is, and that's the kind of experience that you're going to get. I don't see why anyone would even trust it.
Right.
They look like garage sale signs,
right.
You know, right?
This is a professional transaction.
It is.
You know, like you always say, Mike, it's time to put your big boy pants on.
Right.
It really is when it comes to buying and selling real estate. It's a professional transaction and needs to be handled that way, not by someone who plays with magic markers.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking about selling and you're just looking for that sort of easy way to sell it, you know, look, you know, you got all these, you even hear ads on the radio and you see ads on TV, you know, it's, you know, Jimmy will buy your houses or Jenny will buy your houses and top dollar, this, that, and the other. Folks, you know, don't forget, real estate investors are investors. You know, when you're investing in something, are you looking to buy high? You know, when you invest in something, hey, can I buy that? But can I pay the most possible I can for it?
Right. I just want to break even. That's all I want to do.
That is not an investment. Okay. So look, if it's a real estate investor that's planning to buy your house, guess what? You're not going to get top dollar. You're not going to get retail value. And just because maybe you don't want to make a few improvements to the house, you know, because, you know, you're like, well, there's enough equity in the house and I don't want to deal with it. I'll just sell it to the investor anyway. Mm-hmm. And we often see that with folks that are, you know, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. They're like, I just don't want to deal with it. Even with folks that, you know, in their 50s. Like, look, it's not difficult to get the house painted. Mm-mm. It's not that expensive. I mean, yes, painting has gone up for sure, you know, but I mean, it's easy. Do it yourself if you want to. If not, you know, find somebody. Painting and carpet and maybe a little bit of updating, throw some countertops down. So for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on the average house,
right? You
know, you're going to throw all that additional value that brings to the house. You know, you can be throwing away, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 or more if you're going to sell it to an investor. Much less, you know, it just doesn't make any sense.
And we have some great folks that we work with too, like you've said before too, Mike, that will get paid at closing.
Right.
You know, it's not like you want to sell your house and you don't have any cash, you know, and I think that's probably what a lot of people are thinking. Look, I just don't have the money to update the house. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there are folks that will get paid at closing to do those things for you, and you still don't lose that equity.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got plenty of vendors that will take payment at closing, you know, especially if you've got a home that's got plenty of equity in the house. But if it's got enough equity, if we've run the numbers on it and it's good, the vendors will go for it. They'll take payment at closing, and you can get top dollar, get your retail value out of the house instead of investor. Plus, here's the thing about selling to an investor. Obviously, you know, look, you know, I like folks that invest in real estate, you know, because it's a good way to, you know, make money, you know, and invest. But at the same time, it can break down the continuity of neighborhoods.
Yes.
Because often the investors will turn them into rental properties. And at the end of the day, you know, rental properties do, you know, bottom line, degrade neighborhood over time. The more and more rental properties in a neighborhood, it will degrade the neighborhood and the property values of that neighborhood overall over time. It's just bottom line the way it is.
Right.
And, you know, look, we all want to have rental investments, but at the same time, if you're living in that neighborhood and it's mostly rental investments, you're going to notice over time a decrease in property value. And that's just, it is the way it is in most neighborhoods. And so are you looking to do that, you know, to your neighbors? You know,
right.
Just because you want to sell quickly to a guy or gal that can buy cash right away. Look, you know, they can close cash in 2 weeks. The bank can close, you know, in 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Big deal. You know, think about this. You know, maybe you want to, you know, give a family an opportunity to buy that house. We have a problem with inventory in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Right.
You know, do you want to sell your house to an investor and who knows what they're going to do to it? And by investor, I mean, look, I'm not trying to give investors a bad rap, but we've got so many of these groups coming in from out of state, California, Chicago, the Northeast, et cetera, and who knows what they're going to do with this property, you know? And do you want to do that to the neighborhood?
And they're taking over entire neighborhoods.
Oh, yes.
They are. You know, wouldn't you want to give a family an opportunity to have the American dream to purchase that home? Interest rates are at an all-time low, and but we've got low inventory. And so instead of selling it to a family that's in need of purchasing a home, we quickly sell it to an investor. So it's not a win-win for you, the seller. You're in your 50s, 60s, 70s. Maybe you don't want to deal with the hassle. Fine, we understand that. We got vendors that can help you, So it's a win if you get top dollar retail value, okay? So selling it to a real, family, a real buyer, and then it's going to help the neighborhood. It's going to help keep values stable in your neighborhood.
Right.
And give an opportunity to, someone to buy the property. I just think folks, if you're seeing all these silly investor signs out there or hearing them seeing the ads, you need to think twice about that. And
well, and one other product that we'll bring up real quick, Mike, is if let's say you don't want to go through the whole hassle of having your house painted before you sell it, we have rehab loans. Market your house for sale as eligible for a rehab loan. Right. So that the person coming into buying your house, the family buying your house, can then fix it the way they want to. They can make their carpet choice or their paint color choice. You don't have to go with the neutral that that everybody wants you to go with. You can actually make it your own as a buyer. Yeah. So that's another good option.
Yeah, absolutely. So folks, just think about that. If you're selling your property and you've just kind of gotten it into your mind, I don't want to deal with having people come look at the house. I don't really want to deal with agents, and you're just going to sell it to some random company. I'll be honest, you're part of the problem.
Right.
You honestly are part of the problem. You're backing away from your civic duty, to your neighborhood that you've lived in for maybe 20, 30 years, and you're turning your back on them.
Right.
You should sell the house.
But I made my money.
Yeah, hey, do what you want to do, but, in my opinion, you're part of the problem. You're selling it to an investor. Who knows what they're going to do with it? You can make more money by doing what we've just discussed, and you can, treat your neighbors right,
Correct.
By helping put a family back into the neighborhood, more kids to play with the other kids in the neighborhood, etc. There's my piece on that. Hey, folks, we're going to take a short break. See you in a few. When it comes to your mortgage and refinance needs, trust Terri Waggoner, our resident mortgage expert on Inside Real Estate Radio. With a wide range of financing options and competitive interest rates, you can trust Terri for a fast and reliable loan process with superior service. Go to terriwaggoner.com or 469-644-4818 today. Supreme Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID number 207089, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas, 75032. SML Mortgage Banker Registration, Residential Mortgage Loan Originator. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commission sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet Walk-in Tubs, at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. By the way, if you want to talk to us about anything, we're going to talk insurance, mortgage, we're going to talk business, sports, politics. 888-787-CLIFF, 888-787-CLIFF. And if you've got a question about anything, feel free to give us a call. And by the way, not giving investors a bad rap, because we need them, but we need them in the distressed market. Picking up distressed properties, rehabbing them, and flipping them, that's great. That is great because, generally, they're being sold to families, and, investors making money, but they're serving a purpose. They're rehabbing properties that have gone downhill for whatever, and they're in distressed situations. And so instead of that house continuing to go down, down, and down, they've come in, served a purpose, rehabbed it, and turned it around. That is a great purpose. What I don't like is seeing investors take advantage of the elderly coming in and selling them, hard selling them, by the way, on, the easy way out. And then they turn that house into that rental when it's a neighborhood that is not a rental neighborhood, and thereby over long term devaluing, your property values and what you've done to your neighbor. They're not going to appreciate that. And I don't like it when they take advantage of the elderly, and that they're getting ready to sell their home, empty nest, all those types of things. And so that is frustrating. We need the investor, serve your purpose, but, taking advantage of folks, we don't like to see that, and we don't like to see them losing their equity either, by the way. So there's that. Hey, let's get into a little bit of mortgage talk. We got Terri Waggoner right here. Of course, she's our resident mortgage expert, all things mortgage. She's over at Supreme Lending. Her website, terriwaggoner.com, and we're going to keep rolling with our rolling segment of credit.
Right. It's such an important... Sorry. Yeah. Hey, everybody.
That's a little bit.
You have to hit the on button.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, we've been talking for a couple of weeks now about credit, just because it's just kind of everything when it comes to buying home or really buying anything, doing anything these days.
Yeah.
You have to have a good credit report. So if you're just now listening for the first time, and this is the first credit segment that you're listening to, go back and listen to the last few months on some of the social medias that Mike's talking about, because it is important information. Right. So today I wanted to talk about what's included on your credit report. What's there? How does it get there? So your personal information is there. Your name, any aliases. So, and I get this a lot because when we go to closing, there's one document that they have to sign with all the different spellings of their names. Mm-hmm. So every time someone pulls your credit, if they spelled your name wrong, that's going to show up on your credit report. Those are all of your aliases.
Right.
So, if someone spells my last name with my first name with a Y instead of an I, that's going to show up on one of my credit aliases. So that's going to be there. Your birthday, your social security number, your current and past home addresses. So again, anytime someone pulls your credit with an address listed as your home address, that's going to show up on as a previous. So if someone uses your employment or your employer's address, that's going to show up as your home address.
Right.
Accounts that are listed on there, you've got everyone that you've got credit with. Well, let me back up. Most people that you have credit with, some creditors that you owe money to don't subscribe and report to the credit bureau, but most of them are going to.
Right.
So any of your revolving, your credit cards, car loans, mortgages, all that. Public records, any judgment. If someone sues you in court and you lose, the judgment's going on your credit. If you have bankruptcies, going on your credit. If you have tax liens, if you didn't pay the IRS and you owe them, that's going to be on your credit report. Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Pay the IRS.
If you're going to pay anybody, pay them.
That's right. That's right. They will come knocking.
If you pay one creditor, just one,
please
you're looking at all your bills on your table. You got, all right, I got Citibank here. I got, pay the IRS.
Put the IRS on top. Yeah. Who has recently pulled your credit? That's going to be on there. So pay attention. Don't have your credit ran too often. Don't apply. We talked about this last week. Don't apply for every credit card application that comes in the mail. Don't do it.
Please don't.
And there's 3 credit bureaus, and all 3 of them may have some differing information. They all 3 have different scoring models. So that's why you're going to have different credit scores for each of them, because they've got different models. Mm-hmm. But information may be different on each of those. You may have a loan with, say, a jewelry store. Maybe the jewelry store only reports to 2 of the credit bureaus because they get charged to report your information.
Right.
So they may not choose to report to all 3. So that's why the information may be different on all 3 credit bureaus, and not all accounts may be listed on all of them.
Yeah, and it's important to point that out because so many people are like, how does this credit system work? It's so random. There's no rhyme or reason. Well, and that's because you're right, and not everybody does report to all 3. And so you might have a score that's lower in one because a really good one that's heavily weighted, that you pay well and take care of, maybe doesn't report to that one that happens to be lower for your score. So, you've got ones that have heavy weight, and maybe they report to 1, and so your score is down if you missed a payment on that one or whatever.
Right.
And then one you do really well with, isn't on that one. So there's so many things that go into it.
So again, that's why it's important for you to take a look at your credit report every year and see what's on there. Excuse me, what's on there, and which accounts are reporting to which credit bureaus. Right. You don't want to just pull Experian or just pull TransUnion. Every year when you go to that free annual credit report, you want to check all 3 credit bureaus to see what's on there and to make sure that the information is accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what's not in my credit score? What's not going to show up on the credit report?
Well, unfortunately, the things you have to pay, your electric bill and water bill.
Right.
Although supposedly that was going to be changing here.
I thought that did change
pretty soon.
No, well, it's not on there yet.
Not yet.
No.
With the new reports that we had talked
reporting,
about.
Yeah, we talked about that one, and there hasn't been a whole lot of movement or action on that trended credit report. As a matter of fact, we started using it at Supreme, and now it just kind of went away. I don't know where it went. So it's just no one's pushing it. Now, it may be coming, but no one's really pushing it, and no information's been pushed out to us on it.
So as of now, unfortunately, for paying your water bill, paying your electric bill, the things you have to pay every month, you're not going to get any boost for that.
Right. We can add them as what we call non-traditional lines of credit. So if someone doesn't have a credit score or much of a credit report, excuse me, battling a cold this week. So if you don't have much of a credit score, we can add them as a non-traditional line of credit.
Right.
And those are pretty easy to do. But also what's not added on there is your race, your color, your religion. None of that's added on your credit report, obviously. Your age, not on your credit report. Your salary, what your occupation is. None of, and a lot of people think, well, if my income's not on there, well, how do you know? Why is my credit score so low if you don't know how much I make? Mm-hmm. Well, it's based on the credit that's been utilized. Again, so if you've got a $1,000 credit line on a credit card and you've got it charged to $999, you're maxed out.
That's right.
Okay? So that's what it's scoring on, not you make X number of dollars and you've got this much available credit. It's just based on what your available credit is.
Right.
Okay?
And I find that odd almost because, the design of the credit card is really for you to use it up, and then pay the minimum so that they can keep hammering you with interest rates.
Right.
So I would think I would think it would be opposite.
Right.
Because it behooves the credit card companies for you to pay more interest. So I would think you'd get a better score.
Yeah,
if you just used it all up and only paid your minimum.
Yeah, just paid minimum. Yeah, that I'll bring that up in the next meeting.
They would love you a lot more.
I mean, because they would love you. It's funny.
And they design it that way.
Right.
So, and most credit card companies, they report to the credit bureau before your payments due. So even if you're one of those folks that uses your credit card, maybe you use a credit card for all your gasoline. You use it all month long, and then if you get paid once a month, you pay the credit card bill. So they report to the credit bureau right before your payments due. So when it goes to the credit bureau, your card's maxed out. But in actuality, you pay it off every month. Mm-hmm. That's not being reflected. I think that's when and if the trended credit report ever makes its debut and really sticks around, that will be more prevalent on the report itself. But as of right now, that's not apparent anywhere.
Right.
That you're paying it off every month.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that hurts the credit score.
Absolutely.
So pay attention. So if your credit card's due on the 15th of the month, pay it off on the 5th. Okay? So make that kind of a little habit. Pay it before it's due, not the day of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Especially if you're paying it off every month.
For sure.
Your inquiries, certain types of inquiries don't show up on your credit report. So if you're pulling it yourself, like when you're going to annual credit report and all of those, it's not going to show up as an inquiry. Okay? Again, just be careful on who you allow to pull your credit and how often you allow it to be pulled.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't have to accept every free offer for a credit report.
And don't fill out every form to get a free T-shirt.
Right.
At every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time you pass through the airport.
I didn't know they did that at the airport.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
They pull your credit?
Well, I don't know about that, but you have to fill out the application and what they're going to run. You know,
Wow.
you fill out the application, they're going to run it.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Okay.
But I get a free T-shirt. It was such a cool T-shirt, man.
You know they have those places that make them for you. You just put whatever you want on your
T-shirt.
T-shirt.
True.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, don't have your credit ran for that. So just pay attention to, again, what you're doing on your credit report. And like we've said so many times before, if you want me to pull your credit report, if you're looking to purchase a home in the next 6 months or so, let's pull your credit. Let's see what's on there. Let's make some corrections if need be. And go from there, because there is a lot that goes into your credit report, and we are experts at Supreme Lending at telling you what needs to be done to get it where we need it to be so that you can purchase a home.
Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, if you are thinking about purchasing in the next 6 to 12 months, highly recommend you need to call Terri, get with her, go to terriwaggoner.com, her website. There's an application right there. You can fill that out. Or, of course, we always recommend just calling her straight off the bat so you can touch base and game plan. You know, if you are going to buy 6 months, a year, trust me, there are plenty of things that you need to talk to Terri about with your situation, okay? Treat this, as it's something serious, because buying real estate is serious. And, just because you see a lot of information online, you see Zillow and this, that, and the other. By the way, there's a lot of bad information out there. Not everything is online, okay?
Right.
So,
And
I know people don't like to talk to anybody anymore, but this is serious. Talk to Terri. She's going to help you out. She's going to help you game plan, because trust me, even if you bought properties before but you haven't bought one in the last 5 years, totally different ball game. There's so many stringent rules, hoops that Terri and Supreme Lending have to jump through. It's just they're excellent at doing it. So let them help you out, and we'll get you taken care of. Hey, folks, we're going to take a short break. See you on the other side. Far from the shores of home, 2 African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black War correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the black soldier. The novel A Private War, it weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news.
If you have a timeshare, this time of year you're probably thinking about those maintenance fees coming due. Hi, I'm Karen Holloway, owner of LoneStar Transfer, located right here in the DFW area. Before you pay your maintenance fees, call us for a free consultation, 972-722-3166. We'll get you out of your timeshare and put a stop to those maintenance fees. Guaranteed. 972-722-3166 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, we're back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. There's so much good information on the website, folks. We got a lot of great stories. You can connect to all of our social media. We put all the stories up there. You got Pinterest on there, you got our YouTube. And then, of course, however you like to listen to your media. If you want to listen to past shows, past interviews on YouTube, you can do that. If you want to do it on SoundCloud, if you want to do it on iTunes, all of those things. And we have so many great pieces of information for you out there. So there's hit the website up and take care of you with lots of good stuff. Richard is here. Yes, I am. And it's funny, you're talking about SoundCloud and all that, and every week I go home and I ask my wife, okay, he mentioned this on the show. What is this? Because if I'm not talking to someone face-to-face or on the phone, I know those two things.
Yeah, that's because we don't have Sam on our side.
That's right.
Sam
the tech guru wizard of all things. By the way, RichardTAgency.com is Richard's website. RichardTAgency.com, our resident expert in all things insurance, home, toys, life, auto, etc. And so what's the scoop today?
Well, with all the high rains that we had in the recent flooding that we've had, I thought I'd talk about flood insurance today, making sure that people know what there is to know, and just kind of go over some important facts that FEMA thinks that you should know about flood insurance, because FEMA is the agency that actually sets the rate for your insurance or your flood insurance.
Right.
And so the price that I'm going to give you is going to be the same price that the agent down the street is going to give you, because they're setting the prices. They're setting those prices by doing different maps and having different different accounts, or making on their maps there are different delineations of high risk, low risk, or moderate risk, and depending on where you live, you can have it. A typical policy is going to cost anywhere between $400 or $500. Not that bad, but it's one of those things that everyone should at least investigate, because, like I've said before, your home insurance protects you for a lot of things. There are two big glaring things that they do not cover you for. One is flood, and the other is earthquakes. And so if either one of those things happen and you have a fantastic home policy, you're still not going to be covered. And it is going to be a complete out-of-pocket loss unless it's a federal disaster. And we'll kind of touch on what the difference is in a federal disaster and the difference between that and flood policy. But for most of us, all of us are going to be, our home is our biggest asset, biggest investment that we make in our life. And none of us, I believe, that can really just sustain a total loss if a flood comes by.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and most losses are water related.
Yes.
And it's, look, if you're looking to purchase a home, we get the survey, we're looking at it in advance. Where is it located? Many homes are located in a 500 year. It's the 100 year that you want to worry about, but it's usually pretty obvious. You're in a low-lying area, you're near culverts, or you're near creeks, you're near a lake, et cetera, et cetera. If you're near any body of water or any area that water ponds in, spend the $300, $500 a year for the policy and do it, because chances are you're going to get hit.
Absolutely. And FEMA estimates that between 20 to 25% of all the losses are in areas where they are low risk. So 1 out of every 4 is in an area where, I'll never have a flood here. Oh, really? Well, the statistics say that you probably will. Mm-hmm.
And construction is a huge part of it, because if you're in an area where there's high construction, or construction has changed, or the highways have changed,
exactly,
the roadways have changed, and somehow that directs water flow.
It sure does, and we're constantly changing our topography and the way that the water runs down, and our sewer system and or drains may not be up to code, or not to code, but may not be sufficient for your neighborhood. It may have been at one point in time, and then now we get a flash flood and we get a heavy rain, flash flood comes in, destroys your house or the first floor of your house, and most of the time that is not going to be a declared a disaster area. It's just going to be a flash flood, and it's going to be a total out-of-pocket expense. Right. And so what you're looking at is just really protecting yourself and your family, of making sure that you look at all the things. Is this to say that I think absolutely everyone should have flood insurance? Absolutely not. If you're at the top of a hill and you've got great drainage, why would you? And I look at my own self. I don't have flood insurance. It's not something, me and my wife have considered all the options and have looked at everything. And even with all the rains that we've gotten and the flash flooding that's been in our area, it's never even come close to our house. If it had come close to our house, absolutely, I'd be all over it. But because you never know when that one storm's going to come through, and it's just absolutely going to make it to where things that, like you said, the 500-year flood storm, this may be the year that you have that. Excuse me. And the amount of damage that water does is astronomical. I mean, just look at what's happened in Irving with all the flooding there. And unfortunately, did most of those people have flood insurance? I hope they did. Mm-hmm. But that hasn't been declared a national disaster area. So If it's not declared a national disaster area, that means that the federal government isn't going to come in and pay for your losses or anything else. It means that you are responsible for any damages or losses that you incur as a result of whatever happened. And so until the government comes in and says this is a national disaster area and we will be covering this, you're on the hook for everything. And it's something that you really need to look at. Because on a personal level, they will go. You can get a policy that goes up to $250,000. If you have a $10 million home or $1 million home, is that going to be sufficient? Well, it's as far as FEMA will go.
Right.
You can get private insurance, but you're still looking at $250,000 max on your flood insurance. On a personal side, on a commercial side, you're looking at $500,000, and that's when I'm talking about $400 to $500. That's in the low risk areas. If you're in a high risk area, a lot of times when you're dealing with Terri, you're going to have to get a flood policy to begin with. If you're what's called a zone A or an AE or a V, which are high risk areas for flooding, you are going to have. I don't know of any mortgage companies that are going to give you a mortgage without having flood insurance if you're in a high-risk area.
We pull a flood certificate on every single file, and if it's in a flood zone, you're required to get flood insurance.
And that's what I do. For every customer I deal with, I absolutely pull their flood zone determination. And whether it's with company A, B, or C, it's just like everything else that I do. I've got multiple carriers that offer flood insurance for everyone. And so is there going to be a big change in price? Absolutely not. Because like I said, FEMA kind of sets the rates for everybody, and everyone, insurance companies, as most people know, are in the business of making money. And so
you don't want to break even either.
My wife doesn't like it when I break even.
Yeah, breaking even's not good.
Right.
But it's so those prices are constant throughout. But it's going through and making sure that people know what kind of zone that they're in, because if you are in a high risk and you don't have a mortgage on your house, why aren't you carrying? And I have some customers that absolutely will not. And I have carriers that do not make them if you don't have a mortgage on your house, because the mortgage company is the one that really kind of drives, you have to have this insurance, because if something happens to your house, we want our money back, because you never really own it until you pay that mortgage off.
Right,
exactly.
And so when you're protecting yourself or your family, just make sure that you know exactly what zone you're in. At least take the moment to look at what kind of protection that you're getting, because like I said, like we've talked about, I mean, in areas, if you're moving into an area where there's a lot of construction going on, it's amazing how much flooding goes on around there, because as they're building the house next to you, as they're building the house behind you, all that is diverting water in ways that it hasn't been diverted before, and it may affect you, and your homeowner's policy will not cover it if you don't have flood insurance.
And it's usually not terribly expensive, is it, Richard?
No, absolutely not. And like I said, between $400 to $500 is most,
right?
And that's for the very highest. And I'm looking at the $250,000 policy. You're looking between $400 and $500.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all for a little bit of a peace of mind. And of course, if you have a mortgage on your property, you may not have a choice anyway. But yeah, think about it, because most losses are water related, and honestly, you need to think about the earthquakes now too. I mean, I was just noticing on Nextdoor, which is the neighborhood thing, and so many people are like, "Hey, did you hear that boom? Did you hear that boom? Did you hear that boom?" Yeah, the booms have been going on for the last decade, and then the rattlings and the little. It's due to the fracking, the drilling, and then the depositing of water. Most of our area in Arlington, where you live as well, Richard, is the drilling. But so for that reason, anybody in the North Texas area might want to think about the earthquake insurance as well. So for that, for flood, for home, auto, toys, all the rest, look, Richard can shop over 25 companies behind the scenes for you to get the best policy plus the best rate. Your company, your big box company cannot do that. His website, richardtagency.com, richardtagency.com. We're going to take a short break, folks. See you in a few. The Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency Network. Richard can quote over 20 A-rated companies to find the best fit for you, the best policy at the best price. Call Richard today at 817-286-2002. It's the Richard Tonihka Goosehead Insurance Agency, 817-286-2002.
This is Ben Gordon, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. There's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free.
Call 1-800-544-2352. That's 1-800-544-2352. Again, 1-800-544-2352.
Do you have acne or even the occasional breakout? With prescription-grade Proactive Plus, your acne can heal and you can prevent future breakouts. Try Proactive Plus 100% risk-free. Plus, get 2 free gifts and free shipping. Take it from me, Proactive really works. Get prescription-grade Proactive Plus, their amazing skin purifying mask, and a second gift of your choice. Totally free and free shipping. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you don't pay a penny. Call now, 800-281-8770. 800-281-8770.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Richard, tell that story real quick that we talked about offline for a second.
One of the things that I meant to mention was the Deweyville Independent School District had a $12 million loss because they did not have their flood policy for their schools. And it just kind of signifies the importance of having a flood policy, because the amount of losses that you can sustain, and flood policies also not only protect your dwelling, but they also protects your personal property, because it's not just your house that's going to suffer damages. It's also going to be your personal property. But it's just amazing how damaging the water is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is not one thing you'd want to forget to renew, Dewey School District. Right. What are you thinking down there? Bunch of... All right, hey, let's do headlines. We've got maybe a few minutes to do some headlines. What's going on in the world today? What do we got here? Oh, this was pretty funny. You want to know what fake news is? Here's some fake news. There was a Time magazine reporter who reported that the bust of MLK had been removed from the White House minutes upon Trump being put into office, because, of course, Trump is a racist.
Wow.
And the White House press secretary, of course, heads after him and says, that's incorrect. And then so actually forced the Time magazine reporter to, and of course this is done through Twitter.
Where else?
Yeah, I guess that's how pathetic.
I'm gonna have to pay attention to Twitter more often.
How pathetic is the world today? I don't know. So, but of course he confirms it. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I was incorrect. It was actually there. It was hidden by there was a Secret Service agent in front of it."
Oh, was hidden.
It was a wide-bodied Secret Service agent. But
they purposefully put him right there so
no one
could
could see it. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Because they said, oh, well, Churchill was put back in there. Well, evidently they're on the same. Churchill had been removed when Obama came in, and MLK was there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but it's still there. Don't you just love how they like to spin things?
Mm-hmm.
That is fake news. Madonna at the rally and dropped a gazillion F-bombs in D.C., so that was nice of her to come over from England, from where she lives, to cause a little havoc.
I'm still waiting for all the celebrities that said that they were going to move out of the country to start moving.
I think we could help them sell their house, couldn't we, Mike?
Absolutely.
That's right.
We can make that happen. I don't care what state it's in. We will refer you to the best agent there. That is absolutely right. What else is going on? Executive order Trump signed regarding Obamacare, and this is helping states to think about states and agencies to think about waiving, deferring, or granting exemptions from or delay implementation of any provision of Obamacare. So starting to lay the groundwork, maybe hopefully moving back towards a free market with respect to insurance. And the good thing is that Richard doesn't deal with health insurance.
Oh, thank goodness.
So I can actually slam health insurance because you know what? It's frustrating to me. The only service out there that you can't go direct to and pay for and negotiate for is healthcare services. You can't go to the doctor and negotiate the fee, as you do with, anything else, and pay the doctor for that fee. And that is frustrating. It's an entire industry created to be the middleman between you and your healthcare provider. I am not a fan of it at all. And, it's the reason why we're paying, such a high cost for healthcare. And it's bottom line, it is what it is.
And I want to know, there was an article on Facebook, maybe I'll research this week for us, on what top executives made last year for the insurance companies, Aetna, Blue Cross, and it was millions of dollars. I want to know if that report is fake, because if those executives truly make what they're making, there needs to be some overhaul done in that aspect of our health insurance, because it was ridiculous.
We're dropping $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year, and half the time we don't use that money.
Right.
Okay, that's just, there's an industry has been created out of thin air to block you from the doctor. So, if you go back in time, you went to the doctor, or the doctor came to you, or you went to the hospital, the services were there, and it was about the practice, about the calling of medicine. And, and then half the time, you may or may not have had any money. You paid what you could, or you worked out a deal for them to help you, and take care of you. And now you just pay infinite amounts of money every year for no reason.
And you don't even go to the doctor.
You don't go to the doctor.
You can't afford to go to the doctor after you've paid your premiums.
This is ridiculous. And you got so many. Okay, you could either go, the government runs it like they do in other countries, but then you get poor service.
Right.
We have the amazing medical service that we have here in America because it is private, but we've got this thing in the middle, insurance, and it's screwing everything up, and with its tentacles in the entire country. How do you disentangle that, and how do you destroy an industry, but how do you make it work? Why should we have to go through you and pay you thousands of dollars every year? Honestly, we're being shaken down. It's like the mafia. I'm being shaken down. I have to pay, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year every year. I'm getting shaken down. I got to pay it, And to me, that's what it feels like. And I think everybody's starting to feel that way. And I think it's frustrating for people. And then you can't, then you're getting stuck with $200,000, $300,000 bills when you actually need something.
Right.
When you've been paying all that money all your life anyway. So the system does not work insurance-wise. We have a great medical system, but how do we access it without going through insurance? We're getting shaken down like the mafia. And if you don't pay it, they break your legs,
That's right.
It's getting a little frustrating.
Well, some of those folks that may call you if you owe a medical bill kind of feels like that,
goodness.
I think. So, yeah, I mean, and just go into any emergency room and figure out the bills that stream in after you go to the emergency room and the lies that they told you while you were there. Whether we had to take our son a few years back to an emergency room and we asked them, here's my insurance card. Do you take this insurance? Yeah, we take that. They didn't. They did not take the insurance, so we were forced to then pay their full bill, even though we paid thousands of dollars for the insurance. There needs to be some overhaul on that.
Oh, they meant they take the card from you and take a photocopy of it.
But they don't actually
use it.
Honor it. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. crazy.
Well, just think of this concept. I mean, do you go for any other service and talk to the middleman first, or pay a middleman, all year long for something? No, think of this concept. It is just bizarre, odd, and we've just allowed it. Right. How are we here where we get shook down every year for thousands and thousands of dollars for no reason? Would we not want that money for vacations? Would we not want it for college, for the kids? Would we not want it to do all kinds of things, save it for a rainy day, whatever we want, but we're forced to just pay it because, well, it's just an industry that popped up. It's who knows how it got there or when it got there, but it's there now. So
yeah, you have to pay it.
Too bad
and if
you
don't pay it, then we're going to charge you fees at the end of the year on your taxes.
Well, and all the changes that they're constantly making to it, and this is one of the reasons that I'm glad I don't deal with it, because it's amazing how many changes that they make to the policies or what you can and can't do and the carriers that you're allowed to use. And it's just, I think it's a disservice to most people to be that much, or to have that many changes constantly to where no one really has a firm grasp of this is what it does and this is how you're protected.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. We're going to take a short break, and folks, we're going to come right back. See you in a few. Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate, and if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor. With over 3.5 million square feet and 5 DFW locations, Ideal Floors has you covered for all your flooring needs. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, laminate, wood, or vinyl plank, Ideal Floors has you covered. And with their price match guarantee and their 100% satisfaction guarantee, they are the absolute best in DFW for all your flooring needs. Call Kevin Hamus, the owner of Ideal Floors, at 214-789-0422 or go to idealfloors.com for all your flooring needs.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Permapier Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Permapier Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Permapier at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapier.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. By the way, hey, if you know anybody that has got a timeshare that they're trying to get rid of, and there's plenty of people out there that are trying to do that. These contracts are ironclad. They're set for perpetuity. You die, guess what? Your settlement, it can't move forward without it being taken care of. So it's going to pass on to a spouse, a kid, etc. Our folks over at LoneStar Transfer, they can help you get this thing taken care of. They're at LoneStarTransfer.com. And so if you don't want to pass that on to a spouse or an heir, and trust me, you don't want to pass on your troubles to them after you're gone, LoneStarTransfer.com. Talk to Brian and Karen Holloway, the owners, and they will help you out, no problem. Also, by the way, and we talked about this, I know there's so many veterans here in the DFW area. If you have a mobility issue and you're a veteran, there is a grant for you to get you a Hydrojet walk-in tub, which can help you with your hydrotherapy, help you with mobility issues, and get this thing for free through this grant. So go to our friends over at hydrojetwalkintubs.com, talk to Randy and Sheila, the owners, and they will help take care of you. Folks, we got a few more headlines to go through. This one was funny. Greg Gutfeld over at the 5 on Fox News, he was going back and forth with Bob Beckel about the rioters, inauguration rioters. I just thought this comment was funny, and this was quote. He said, "Why is it that there's no protests after an inauguration of a Democratic candidate?" And so I was like, he kind of hit the nail on the head there, and so I thought that was a little bit funny. I guess, one side gets a little more hyper than the other or clearly has the time to take a vacation
Right.
and drive across country to hang out and loot and this, that, and the other. Everybody else is hard at work working.
Right. I would have loved to have gone to the inauguration, but I had to work.
Me too. Yeah, I'd love to do a lot of things on the weekend, but I'm working instead. We talked about General Mad Dog Mattis before. He was the pick for SecDef, and of course he was sworn in the other day, just right after Trump was brought in. And of course, so we're quite happy to see a Marine as SecDef. I was happy about that. What else is going on? Hey, locally here in Dallas, KVIL is dead and gone. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yes.
No.
They had one of the. Yes, I heard.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
All
your
right.
I know
input.
that was insightful, and
Yes, we did.
this is brought to you by the letter J.
Right. Yeah, so they are now the AMP, which is 1037 has now been rebranded by CBS Radio as the AMP. So going to be playing Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, DJ Snake, and I guess they're going to,
Who's that?
So the
You-
exact
you know-
same lineup as the rest of radio.
Yes.
Pretty much, yes. It was funny what they said in this article. This is a really funny article, and this is on there. This was from Dallas News. It's a long, funny article. And he's like, yeah, also, AMP was also similar to the energy drink names, the vitamin names that promise a lean, ripped physique. So I love it. That was a good article. You have to check that out. Folks, we are out of time. Hey, we're here every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m., and we have lots of fun in real estate, politics, sports, entertainment, business. I hope you tune in every Sunday. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We are out of here. Neither the hosts nor the guests or contributors of the show Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga are attorneys, CPAs, tax advisors, or investment advisors, and are not providing legal advice during the course of the show. If you need professional legal advice or services in any of those categories, please seek the appropriate professional. The host is a licensed real estate agent in Texas with the Chris Arnold Premier Realty Brokerage, a fair housing broker and member of the MLS. Texas real estate agents are prohibited from providing legal advice.